Chapter 1. Stuart Matthews sat poised on the edge of his seat, his body taut, his face wearing the laser-beam focus of a general preparing for battle. In many ways, he was fighting the greatest battle of his life, for it involved the heart of the one he loved most. He had asked his personal assistant to hold his calls, and he had put his cell phone on silent. What he needed most was peace and quiet, time to ponder over what he was about to do, time to weed out lingering doubts. From all outward appearances, Stuart was the picture of success with his high-profile advertising agency that took up the entire 16th floor of the trendy high-rise building in Fort Worth, Texas. The offices had an urban industrial feel with the high ceilings and open space that showcased steel and glass. His office was minimalistic, containing only a sleek glass-top desk with a steel frame, his chair, and one other chair in which clients could sit. Alice, his personal assistant, had been trying to talk him into filling the unused space with a sofa and comfortable chairs for clients, but he refused. "That's what the conference room is for," he told her. This was his space, and he preferred it uncluttered so that he could keep his focus on the essential. People were often surprised at how different his home was from the office, but that was because he had given Evie full control of the home to decorate as she pleased. As opposed to him, his wife Evie loved excess and insisted on drenching their mansion with all the lavish comforts that money could buy. She had created the perfect calling card, as she called it. "From the minute people drive onto the property, I want them to know up close and personal that we are the it thing." He'd indulged Evie, given her everything that money could buy. She had used his resources and influence to establish a foothold in the world of society, eventually transforming herself into the queen over all of the notable society groups in Fort Worth. While Evie felt like she had finally arrived, he was the opposite. Despite his success in the business world, he had failed the one person who mattered the most to him in the entire world, his daughter. She had never had to want for a single thing and had led a life of privilege that most could only dream of. In his attempt to protect her, he had spoiled her to the point where she was being narcissistic and unfeeling. She was adrift in a sea of abundance, and her latest stunt had nearly led to disaster. He swiveled his chair around to face the wall of floor-to-ceiling windows behind his desk that afforded a majestic view of the downtown district. It was early enough in the day that a slight haze covered the tops of the buildings, making them look as if they were getting a peek into heaven. But it wouldn't take long for the relentless sun to burn off the haze. Thankfully, it was still spring, so the days weren't scorching like they would be a month from now. There were patches of blue sky beneath the haze, promising another sunny Texas day. If only his path were as sunny and bright. He furrowed his brows as he turned back around to face the desk. He could only see one way to help Brooke, but she wouldn't like it. In fact, she would be so angry that she might never speak to him again. That was the price he would have to pay for attempting to save her. Better to be a parent than a friend. Even though he dreaded what was to come, he knew there was no other option. His money had been the thing that sent Brooke down her path of self-destruction. He could only hope that it would also be the catalyst that would save her. A feeling of resignation settled over him as he looked down at the blank page. Then he picked up the pen and began to write. "My darling Brooke, from the moment you were born and I held you in my arms, I knew that my life would never again be the same. Never before had I experienced such pure and complete love, and that love has only grown and multiplied over the years. You are my heart, my primary responsibility, and I will take any measures necessary to protect you, even if that means protecting you from yourself. Sweetheart, my only desire is that you find joy and contentment, the kind that can only come from within. You need to learn to love unconditionally and to love someone so completely that you are willing to put his needs before your own. Please know that I have spent many a night walking the floors trying to determine the best course of action to set you back on the right path. A way has opened up, and I intend to take full advantage of it. My only hope is that you will one day find it in your heart to forgive me for what I'm about to do." A knock sounded. He looked up as his assistant stuck her head in the door. "I'm sorry to disturb you, but the attorney is here and waiting in the conference room. It's time." The moment of truth was here. Once he signed the documents, there would be no going back. He blew out a breath, a rigid look of determination on his lined face. "Tell them I'll be there in 5 minutes."